Few drivers have delivered as many breathtaking performances as Max Verstappen since his debut on the Formula One grid in 2015. Till date, the Dutchman has won 17 races, finished on the podium 53 times, and pulled off numerous stunning overtakes. And here are our picks for the top 10 of his many great drives. Let's have a look, but before we do, if you're new here, subscribe to our channel Max Verstappen Rewind and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us. That said, let's begin. Number 10, 70th Anniversary Grand Prix in 2020. Mercedes dominated the first 4 rounds of the 2020 season, winning every race. It appeared that they would repeat their victory in the second half of the Silverstone doubleheader, but Max had other plans. On one of those rare hot British summer days, the softer Pirelli tires quickly degraded, especially in the Mercedes. Verstappen, sensing an opportunity, ignored calls from his team to protect his own rubber and instead pressed Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton, forcing them to pit early. The Red Bull driver then managed to make his stint nearly twice as long as theirs while maintaining a decent pace, rejoining just behind Bottas on fresher tires and passing him immediately. Verstappen's success has often been attributed to his fast-paced and thrilling overtakes, but on that day at Silverstone, it was perfect tactics and tire preservation that saw him triumph over those with superior machinery. Number 9. Dutch Grand Prix in 2021. Verstappen's victory at the first home Grand Prix may not have been the most exciting of his career, but it was one of the most impressive. The amount of pressure he was under at Zandvoort was simply enormous. He needed a win not only for his title chances, given that the race would be followed by ones at 2 Mercedes strongholds, but he also had an entire nation rooting for him to win, with thousands of them in attendance. Observing him, however, such pressure did not appear to exist. He didn't put a foot wrong all weekend, taking pole position and never looking like he'd lose the race. If an F1 driver is to become a true great, he must be able to handle pressure, which the Dutchman emphatically demonstrated here. Number 8. Chinese Grand Prix in 2017. When an engine issue forced him out of Quarter 1 and into the race of P16 in Shanghai, a podium seemed a distant dream for the Red Bull driver. But that changed after a simply stunning start. Few opening laps in racing history have been more magical, with him mastering wet conditions to gain 9 positions. After that, he kept charging and was up to P3 by lap 8. He didn't have the car to compete with Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel for the win, but he did hold off teammate Daniel Ricciardo to finish on the podium. The opening stages, however, make this one of Verstappen's best drives. There weren't many better laps that day than his first. Number 7. 2018 Grand Prix of the United States. A year later, Verstappen raced an even more impressive recovery drive, starting 2 places lower than he did in China and crossing the line 1 place higher, nearly winning. He once again breezed through the midfield, moving into the top 5 after just 7 laps thanks to a number of flawless overtakes, and then consistently matched the pace of the leaders to put himself in contention for the win. Indeed, he was in P2 with a few laps to go, close behind Kimi Raikkonen, but was forced to defend rather than attack with Hamilton right behind him on much fresher rubber. He managed to keep the Brit at bay with a masterclass in defensive driving. It was a drive with everything: attacking, defending, pace and tire management, and it wasn't even his best on American soil. Number 6. 2015 United States Grand Prix. Verstappen's rookie season on the grid was tremendously impressive, and this performance in Austin on his first visit to the circuit was one of the highlights. Back then, it was in midfield machinery rather than a top car, but his pace was so fast that you'd never guess. This is largely due to his mastery of changing conditions, with him excelling on the slick track while constantly making the right strategy decisions to move up from outside the points to inside the top 5. When he was there, the Toro Rosso driver didn't look out of place either, overtaking both Red Bull drivers and battling Hamilton and Vettel for the podium. While he was unable to secure his first top 3 finish, P4 in the car he had was an impressive result. Number 5. Mexican Grand Prix 2018. There are few, if any, places on the calendar where Verstappen performs better than in Mexico City, and this was evident in 2018. Given his ability, he fully expected to secure his first pole position and was enraged when teammate Daniel Ricciardo stole it from him on Saturday. However, his rage fueled him, resulting in one of the most dominant performances of his career. He took the lead at the start, quickly pulled away, and sailed off into the sunset, at one point making a pit stop ahead of the rest of the field. It's good, in fact, that there is not much else to say. For the entire day, he was in a league of its own. Number 4. Brazilian Grand Prix in 2019. Even though it appeared that the gods were against him in his quest for a long overdue victory at Interlagos in 2019, he triumphed. He lost the lead to Hamilton after the Williams of Robert Kubica blocked him in the pit lane, but reclaimed it by passing the Brit at turn 1. He then maintained his lead and appeared to be on his way to victory until his team pitted him during a late safety car while Hamilton remained out, dropping him back behind the Mercedes driver. He did, however, retake the lead, this time with a stunning move around the outside of Turn 1. Many things went against him that day, but he was so good that they couldn't stop him. Number 3, Brazilian Grand Prix in 2016. Now we're really getting to the best of the best, and the first of them is yet another recovery drive. But this one may be the best of them all. He found far more grip than anyone else in soaking wet conditions, as evidenced by his stunning overtake on Nico Rosberg, which is one of the best the sport has seen in recent times. This elevated him to P2, but a poor strategy decision by his team dropped him back to P16. What happened next was simply incredible. He gained 13 places in just 16 laps, all in treacherous conditions, and at one point was 2 seconds faster than anyone else on the track. Toto Wolff said it was one of the best drives ever seen in F1. Number 2, Austin Grand Prix in 2019. Verstappen expected to win at the Red Bull Ring after securing a front row start, and he did, but it took a lot of effort. After a shaky start and a drop to P9, he set himself a mountain to climb with just over 20 laps to go. It looked like he'd failed, with him still down in P4, but then came the late charge, beginning with flawless moves on Vettel and Bottas. After quickly pulling away from them and catching Charles Leclerc, the two engaged in a titanic battle, with the Dutchman taking the lead with only 2 laps remaining with one of his best moves ever, dummying the outside before switching to the inside at the last second and squeezing through. This was classic Verstappen, with such a fast pace and thrilling moves. Number 1, Spanish Grand Prix in 2016. In our opinion, his best ever drive was his first for Red Bull, which he won to become the youngest race winner ever. With the 2 Mercedes drivers crashing out at the start, he still had a lot to do, and he did it all perfectly, looking remarkably comfortable in what was a brand new car to him to fend off Raikkonen's Ferrari. This would have been a great drive if he'd been in the car since the beginning of the season. The fact that he'd only had 2 days in it prior to the race is mind-boggling, especially when you consider how much other drivers have struggled since then when joining Red Bull. At the age of 18, he was as quick as teammate Daniel Ricciardo, defended perfectly against Raikkonen, and handled a tremendous amount of pressure. It was obvious then that he'd go on to become a big star, and he's still far from finished. That was all about it. Thanks for watching the video. Please let us know what you think about Max Verstappen in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content and up-to-date information. We hope to see you again at the next one.